Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Torgo Entertainment YouTube channel. Torgo here. Welcome back to another gig log, and welcome back to 2 weddings. My car gets absolutely assaulted by birds overnight, so yeah, this needed to get done. This probably looks a little different to you. Well, I have 2 weddings this weekend, as I mentioned. Today, we are in Pavilion, New York, to celebrate the wedding of Adam and Katie. We are at the Hillcrest Estate. Here's a map to show you where that is. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive from where I am. And this one's going to be a little bit different because they don't actually want any video of the wedding. A lot of the guests said that they don't want it to be filmed, which, you gotta respect that. But I'm going to show you the setup. I'm going to show you the layout of everything because that's, it's what it is. And the reason I took this one is a subcontracted gig because I have a wedding tomorrow, which is also a subcontracted gig. But my logic was, the car's loaded anyway, so I might as well do this event. And that's why I did it. This is the same subcontracting company, Direct Entertainment, that I worked with when I did Marlon and Virginia's wedding in 2019. And I have another one with these guys on a Thursday in September, the Thursday before Labor Day weekend. Well, I'm already here for wedding number 1, so let's get you here. Let's go.
So the photo shown here from Google Maps is actually a little bit outdated. The tree cover's a little bit different. They have more walkways up to the building. But here's the layout of the estate. We will be located primarily inside the hall for the reception, denoted by this lilac star right here. And the ceremony is going to take place where this triangle is. They had a keyboardist off to the side. And the plan originally was to mic the keyboardist, run him into my ceremony setup. And then I was going to provide some microphones so everybody could hear what was going on there. However, there was some sort of payment issue with the subcontracting company, and they were like, well, if you want them to bring the microphones, it's going to be an additional $300. I'm like, I have them with me. I just have to take them out of the box and put them on a stand and turn them on. So they were like, we're not going to use the microphones, which, that's why when you see the little bit of footage that I got, it's ridiculously quiet, but there was nothing I could do at that point. As a positive, though, they ended up with a different pianist than I think they had expected, but he provided so much equipment that I didn't need to do anything with him. He was very self-sufficient with his amplification, so that wasn't needed. But for cocktail hour, we actually have to have a 3rd speaker outside the hall, located where this lilac heart is. I was going to take the Bose S1 Pro and repurpose it from ceremony to cocktail, so I had it on me anyway, so that wasn't a surprise. Now, this line right here for load-in, there's actually a walkway there. I know it doesn't show on the photo, but it made life a lot easier, especially because I could just drive right up, unload the rock and roller cart, and load it right into the building. And let's take a look into the estate before I started setting everything up. I've wheeled everything in. There's the head table off to the side. All the fans you see are provided by the estate. They have the windows back there, but if you look, there's these sets of doors right here, which make travel a little difficult. So people are going to be going in and out of that. Cocktail is right on the other side, and I'm in this tight little corner. So what did I do for speakers?
It ended up being a beautiful day outside. It's actually 75 degrees or so. I know I'm wearing long sleeves, but trust me, it's fine. I'll take it over the rain that we've been getting for the past couple weeks. But it's about 1 o'clock now. I'm all set up, ready to go. The ceremony starts at 2. We're going until 8 o'clock, so 6 hours. And let's show you the setup.
See what I meant about all that tree cover? But the ceremony looks really nice. I'll show you that in a second. Outside for cocktail, we have my good old power inverter, the Yeti 1000. I know they made an X version that's a little bit more efficient, but I'm not buying this again for no reason. Random speaker stand. It's the ultimate one with a twist. This is the Bose S1 Pro. You've seen this a ton of times. This is daisy chained to the speakers inside, so we have all 3 running at the same time for cocktail and reception. We had to do a little bit of creative taping because those doors did not want to close all the way with the cord running underneath it. And here we have one speaker. Yeah, I had to put the speakers in opposite corners of the room. The QSC K10.2 top. the ADJ CSL 100 light-up speaker stand underneath with the white speaker scrim. This couch is really cool. It's made from horsehair, but I had to run some cables underneath that, and there is the rest of the setup and the other speaker. I do not like having speakers that far away in opposite corners of the room. I feel like there's some weird pan issues, but it ended up sounding all right. There's the Dragon front boards facade. You've seen that a ton of times. The other speaker stand, the other stand scrim, the other speaker on top. We have this on kind of like a lilac color. I believe this is ADJ preset number 26. It seems to work really well with the decorations of the room and the bridesmaids' dresses, which I always try to match. The Allendale Defender, my travel bag, the Pioneer DDJ SX2 controller, the Samsung Odyssey notebook running Virtual DJ 2020. You've heard this all before if you're a regular on the channel. The SLX microphone rack from Shure. The trackball mouse. That extra hard drive has all my music on it, not just the DJ music, because they're very into contemporary Christian music, and I get it from promo only, so I brought that just in case. There's the actual SanDisk music drive. There's the Audio-Technica headphones, the MX-50s, and there's the SLX microphone itself. And some tape and some dead batteries and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the power supply is right over here behind this chair. Moving outside for ceremony. I know I'm not doing anything out here for ceremony, but I did want to show you this. I asked the pianist Steven if this was okay, and he said it was perfectly fine. I showed him the channel. He's like, ooh, that's neat. So he's got these two speakers right here on the ground. And here we have the Yamaha S90ES keyboard. Fairly decent keyboard. It's got the whole 88 keys. It looks quite wide for a keyboard. He's got an X stand underneath there. Here is his mixer. Obviously, he's just using, mostly just the one channel number 1 on the left. You got the master there. You instrumentalists out there, is this a similar rig you use if you play piano? Let me know in the comments below. The Europower PMX 1000 mixer. And he's got cable running to the other speaker as well. He's got his own cover, so that takes care of ceremony. And we only have time for one more thing, and you know what that is. I know, super short rundown, but it is time to level up.
Wish you could come along, but let's go. I don't know how apparent it is in all of the photos that I have from this wedding, but again, there were so many children running around. The grand entrance took 30 minutes to get all 6 of the couple's kids wrangled and ready to go in and keep them, focused and in one place while we got everybody together. But overall, things went pretty well with that wedding. The photographers took a long time after dinner. We ended up like an hour behind schedule, but we had like an hour's worth of dancing. I played a lot of the classic stuff, When you have that type of crowd, a very heavy church-going crowd, you have to be careful with what music you play. And I did mess up just once. I had forgotten that the word bitch is said in Jump Around by House of Pain, which was on their must playlist. I did censor the word hoe, in the beginning of the second verse. So I thought I was doing really good there, though I stepped away and then I heard that and I was like, oh yeah. So I think they all forgot about it too, or weren't listening, because who listens to the third verse of Jump Around by House of Pain? But overall, things went really well. And again, I'm sorry for this weird angle. I'm getting stuff together. I just finished loading the car for today's wedding. And today we head to Glenora Wine Cellars. We've been there before. Here's a map to show you where that is. Again, 35 to 40 minutes away. We haven't been there in over 2 years. The very first wedding I did on this channel, John and Jana's wedding, took place there, except I'm doing this one by myself, and today we celebrate the wedding of Andrew and Mallory. This was a subcontracted wedding as well. The last one was for Direct Entertainment, and this one is for All Star Entertainment, and most of the subcontracted weddings that I do through them. And I've gone at length explaining why I do subcontracted weddings every once in a while, just to pad out the schedule a little bit. There's always that bug in the back of my head going, well, what happens if everybody cancels? Sometimes the markets are bad. This is something Wayne and I have joked about in the past. Every year after a US presidential year, DJ companies around here, for whatever reason, do really badly. So that's why after a really miserable 2017, I started looking into doing some subcontracting stuff, beginning with 2019. And this wedding, while subcontracted, is actually a post-COVID reschedule. They wanted to get married last year, but obviously that wasn't happening with a whole bunch of events last year. So they rescheduled for today, and that's what we're doing. We're doing ceremony, cocktail, and reception. Cocktail is on the deck as well as reception, same location for both. Ceremony is out in the field. What makes this one tricky is I have to do it by myself. Now last time, Phil stayed on the deck and just kind of started the cocktail while I swept everything up for the ceremony, or maybe it was the other way around, but regardless, one of us was striking the ceremony and the other one was handling cocktail hour. This time, I have to do everything by myself, which means I have to look into actually doing something I really avoid doing when I DJ, and that is automating the playlist for the cocktail songs. I really don't like doing that. I think it's cheating if you're at a wedding. If you show up and you just kind of hit play and then go off and do something else for like an hour, I really try to make sure that I'm there the whole time. But unfortunately, I think I'm just gonna have to do that. They want a lot of the 2000s hip hop, 90s, so I'm okay with that. But I hope you're ready for this one. Second wedding in as many days. Let's go.
So we've been here before, but I never had the overhead photo when I've been here because I just started doing that this year. So I know it's a little hard to tell, and the words from Google Maps are in just the wrong spot for this particular event. But the reception location is out on the deck, located by this star right here. And the ceremony, you can kind of tell where it is on the photo. I'm going to be off to the side of that, denoted by this triangle right here. Loading in for the reception, pretty easy. We have to go in through a side door, navigate some pretty tight hallways, admittedly. And the third speaker, the Bose S1 Pro, is going to go where that top corner is, essentially. There's a door right there. I'll show you that in a second. But then, from the reception area, I have to load in everything for the ceremony, which means going down the stairs, looping around, and bringing it in there. And this curve is actually kind of accurate. I wanted to just go across the top to try and avoid as much of the incline as I could with the cart, but yeah, that definitely started to slip a little bit as I went, so that's probably more accurate as to how I ended up doing it. Let's start off inside the hall. We have the Bose S1 Pro. Again, you just saw this speaker stand. Black scrim. There's the power for it. And then we take the cable, go through the door, and we have to sneak behind all this stuff. I could have taped back behind that cart, but I felt it unnecessary. Tape there. Bring it through this door, and we go on the other side and show you the proper setup. Look at this. We start off in front with the EV ELX 200 subwoofer. Didn't need the bigger one for this venue. We have the ADJ CSL 100 light-up speaker stands, the white scrim, the QSEK 10.2s, the ADJ Focus Spot 3Z moving heads. On top of that pre-wired scrim, you've seen this before, the ADJ Element Hex PAR acting as the receiver for the signal. We have the cart for those, which I use as a table. That is my table. We have a microphone right there. That is the ULXD microphone. I used both of those because I know that we needed to go inside for toasts, and I know that those are powerful enough. The ADJ Airstream DMX bridge. I showed you the UB12 hex bars briefly. The Audio Technica MX50 headphones. My good old anti-fatigue mat, the Pioneer DDJ SX2 controller. An iPad tucked in there, running all my scenes for the lighting. And here we have the Samsung Odyssey notebook running Virtual DJ 2020. Very similar. There's Auto Mix. I know, I'm a cheat, but that's how you have to get that going, so I was able to do that back and forth. The SanDisk hard drive holding all my music, Logitech trackball mouse. There's the mic rack, which ends up going back down for a ceremony. The good old Power Bar 65 to get more power up there. The Radial 2-to-1 mixer, clipboard. There's the Manfrotto tripod just charging the camera. And fortunately, there is a closet back here that we can store some stuff in. I am charging that battery, and let's go down here for the ceremony. So ceremony is about to start. Let me get this very quickly as people are starting to get seated. I do sound check the mics pretty last minute. There are the two microphones through the power of editing. It's the same stuff that was up there. And we head here. I am off to the side enough. There's the tripod again. There's the Panasonic HD camcorder that I film these bad boys on. Here we have a Samsung Chromebook with all the music on that flash drive. I remembered my Yamaha my 10-channel mixer. There's the mic rack, there's the battery, the X stand, and of course we have another speaker stand, and this is the second Bose S1 Pro. So you see here, channel 1 is the left mic and channel 2 is the right mic. I was like, I don't need the radio 2-to-1 mixer for this. Just make sure those levels are exactly the same. Otherwise, you're going to have some weird interference issues. And there is the power inverter. So now we have time for one more thing. Again, for the second time in this video, let's level up.
Let's go. I never do this during the wedding, but a brief little update. So I got here at 10 of 2, and there was no power. There was power out for like 1,000 people, all in the area of Dundee. So that was fun. I couldn't sound check or do anything really for a while. Aim lights. Ended up coming back at like 3:45, 4 o'clock. So that put me a little behind. We still started the ceremony on time. And now it's looking like it's gonna rain. Oh man. But we're on time, and the worst part, hauling everything up from the ceremony, up the stairs, up the hill, and DJing at the same time. That's why I was like, screw it, I have to use auto mix. I never do that, but that's where we are. Things are going all right.
Therefore, it gives me great pleasure to now pronounce them as husband and wife. You may now give the people what they want and seal your marriage with a kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for, it is now my pleasure to present for the first time as a married couple, Andrew and Mallory.
Throwback, I haven't played this in a hot minute.
Bring the tongue to
Kelly, you're not representative of anyone here at this wedding, including the DJ or Glenora's staff or anyone along those lines. But before we get out of here, I want to hear one more huge round of applause for your newlyweds, Mallory and Andrew. Thank you so much, everybody. Make out, make out, make out, make out, make out.
And we're back the morning after. It has been a very long weekend. It's actually Sunday morning right now. But that last wedding went really well, with all things considered. Granted, we had a power outage and I couldn't really have any electricity until just over an hour before the wedding, which really makes sound check difficult. Can't aim the lights. There's so many things that you just can't do, so I was definitely scrambling for time. Both weddings took a long time to get the introductions ready to go. Friday's wedding, because they had 6 kids, the oldest of which was 12, and they were, scurrying about during a wedding, so it was kind of hard for the parents to wrangle them. And the opposite problem happened yesterday. They had the bar right there, and the parents actually were the ones that had difficulty being where they needed to be. They were like, oh yeah, we'll be there in a minute. 5 to 10 minutes later, no one seems interested in keeping them there, so I was like, I don't want to grab people, I don't know these people. Unfortunately, I did not get the introductions on tape yesterday, simply because after trying to do that, and I was still a little flustered after the whole power situation, the camera was right next to me, I just never reached over and turned it on, but I did manage to get the first dance right afterwards. But the introductions were fine. It's a long walk for those introductions at Glenora. You have to start all the way in the back and you work your way up onto the dance floor area. That crowd was there to party. If they had longer than an hour 45 for dance floor time, they would have definitely used it. Unfortunately, the dance floor didn't really open until 9:15, so we were definitely taking a lot longer than I had anticipated for dinner. But I think that's what happens at Glenora. I'm not entirely sure. I forget. It's been so long since I've been there. But as it turns out, Mallory and Andrew were super happy, and that's what matters. So we are 2 for 2 with successful weddings this weekend. Both playlists will be at the tail end of this video. Apparently when you put it on auto mix like I had to briefly for yesterday's wedding, it just goes in order of last played, starting with the most recent and working back. So the cocktail hour from yesterday is the reverse order of the cocktail hour from Friday. So that's something, but I'll put it in there anyway. I'm Torgo with Torgo Entertainment. I finally get one weekend off, and I'm gonna celebrate that by getting my wisdom teeth out. Hooray! And then the next time you see me, I'm actually going to be on day shift. Finally, my other job is taking me off nights. I'm no longer working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I'll be working 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Much more conducive for this schedule. However, they're changing my schedule from working 5 days a week to working 7 days a week. So we're gonna figure out how that works. Woo, I'm gonna become emaciated. But I'm Torgo with Torgo Entertainment, and I'll see you at the next gig in 2 weeks. Take care.